Hey guys, and welcome to part 6.
Yeah, we're in part 6
of our How to Make Your Own Workout video series. So here's my goal for you for this video. I want you to have a better understanding of what hypertrophy is. Don't worry, we're going to discuss that word here in a second. And I want you to understand why you should do it, but I also want to debunk a few of the myths that are circulating around about hypertrophy, and then I want to help you create an actual hypertrophy workout. So I threw that word around quite a bit, but let's go ahead and backtrack and let's just make sure we all know where we're at. We've talked about training goals, our time, equipment, facility that we're going to need, warm-ups. Now we're actually on to making the actual workout. So, a few things every workout must have: training goal, appropriate time, and a commitment to yourself. And really that one is a commitment to building a system that's going to help you succeed. So that means getting to bed on time, meal prepping if that's your thing, making sure that your workout clothes are at the foot of the bed or in your car, in your gym bag before you head out for work, whatever that is. Commitment to yourself is a commitment to building a system that's going to help you succeed. Now again, a great way to make sure that you're getting a good, well-rounded workout is to take everything in cycles. I mentioned deload, endurance, hypertrophy, and strength, but there are other aspects you can throw in here. You can throw in a power cycle, being explosive. You could throw in a sport-specific cycle where you're only practicing your sport. This is just an example of how to have more of a well-rounded, general physical preparation approach. So let's talk about hypertrophy. What does it mean? Hypertrophy, we're talking about muscles. We're actually talking about increasing the cross-sectional area of a muscle, which means that you are trying to make your muscles bigger. So I put a little picture down there, and that is a muscle connected to a bone. You can see that it's made up of a whole bunch of little different fibers, a whole bunch of smaller muscle components. And what we're doing is when we're going through a hypertrophy cycle successfully, we're making some of those fibers bigger, and we're storing more resources and nutrients into those muscles so that we can use them more effectively, which helps to make the cross-sectional area of your muscle a little bit bigger. So some of it's because you're actually making the muscle grow, but some of it's because you're storing more nutrients and resources in that muscle so you can use it more efficiently. Primarily, hypertrophy is associated with bodybuilders, but let me tell you guys, hypertrophy is important for little kids, it's important for adults, and it's important for elderly people. It's applicable for everyone. So here's the big thing about hypertrophy. If you're not doing it just for vanity and aesthetics, and there's nothing wrong with that, everybody wants to look good naked, it's going to help increase your joint stability. So joints in and of themselves are just bones, they're just there, and there's not a whole lot of stability to them. It's very easy for those to fall apart. So our body is covered in muscles to help create stability about all these different joints. And those muscles create tension or muscle tone that helps keep all those things together via our nerves. No, that is not an alien implanting itself onto some organic organism. It's a nerve for your muscles. So here's the gist of it. The more connection you can have between your muscles and your nervous system, the more muscle control you have, which means the more stability that you have throughout your entire body. Now, if you have a bigger muscle, like the cross-sectional area is bigger, it's going to provide more stability for your body. Now, here's the thing about hypertrophy. It's very, very difficult to maintain that training program. Because the nutritional requirements are huge. I mean, they are massive. If you want to try and look like a bodybuilder all the time, you have to live that lifestyle. Gang, let me tell you, it is tough. If you don't believe me, go find someone who trains this way and ask them how easy it is. Or watch their progression going up to show date. They will tell you it's tough. So, hard to achieve, hard to maintain. Let's go ahead and get into the nitty-gritty parts of this. Keep it simple. So when it comes to hypertrophy, we're talking about moderate weight, moderate volume for moderate rest. It's pretty much low-end volume of endurance, but it's the low-end weight of strength. And what you're doing is you're going to combine the two, and you're not going to have a whole lot of rest periods. So this kind of training really taxes the muscle, which is part of the reason why it helps make your muscles bigger, because it puts this stress on the body, and your body in turn says, whoa, we need to do something different here. So it grows and it gets stronger. And that's typically what we're going for when we're talking about hypertrophy. 6 to 12 reps, somewhere between 70 to 85% of your 1 rep max, with somewhere about a minute to 2 minutes as far as a rest period is concerned. So now actually how to make your workouts here, not different at all from what we were talking about with our endurance cycle if you choose to program your workouts this particular way. I find this is really easy for people to lay out and just kind of plug and play the exercises. So we're just going to run with this. So we have our warm up, which if you haven't watched that, you gotta go do that.
It's video 3.
And then after that, we have our strength, and that could be any multi-joint activity. It could be a squat, shoulder press, an Olympic lift, a bench press, whatever. And then after that, you have your accessory work, your workout of the day, something going to complement what you did for the strength. And then finally, we have our cash out and our cool down. So let's go ahead and make it specific. We have our warm up, we stretch, we activate, we integrate, and get ready for what we're doing for the day. We're gonna run with the squats example, just like we did last video. So instead of 8 sets of 10, like I said on the last video for endurance at a light weight, this go around we're going 4 sets, 8 reps at 70% of your 1 rep max with a 1 to 2 minute rest period. Quick side note, if you have a true 1 rep max and you're going 4 sets of 8 at 70%, you're gonna be gassed. If you don't have a 1 rep max and you're not really sure what weight you're supposed to be using when you're doing an exercise, like in this example, 4 sets of 8 at 70%, if you don't have a 1 rep max, reps 6, 7, and 8 ought to absolutely gas you because you're keeping everything so very tight, your technique is on point, and you're using as many muscles as possible to maintain good form and good tension. And if you're doing that and you're at the appropriate weight for your abilities, reps 6, 7, and 8 are going to gas you. And getting on the bar or back to the bar in less than a minute is going to be out of the question because you have expended so much energy keeping everything tight and in the right places that you're gonna have at least a minute or two to get back to the bar. Won't be comfortable, but you should be able to do it. After you get done with your strength, you're gonna have your accessory work. Again, we're gonna use the same exercises that we did last time just to keep things simple. So let's say I do hamstring curls. Instead of doing, I think I put down 15 reps last time, we're gonna do 3 sets of 10 at, again, a moderate weight. And that's going to be one of those situations to where 8, 9, and 10 are very difficult. And of course, they're difficult because the weight is appropriate and because we're maintaining good form and technique. And yes, there is a wrong and a right way to do hamstring curls and leg extensions. More on that in another video, but only if you ask nicely. Then we have leg extensions, same idea, 3 sets of 10 at a moderate weight, and then calf raises, 3 sets of 12 at, again, a moderate weight. And the whole idea is those last 3 to 4 reps should be challenging, and it should be out of the question to hop back on immediately. You should definitely have need of rest. And finally, we have our cash out or a cool down. I didn't even bother changing this one. It's a 3-minute glute bridge hold. This is where you can actually just, whatever energy you have left, burn it out on this cash out. Just try to get your heart rate back down to a relative norm by picking a very easy, very low impact exercise that's just going to help you keep blood flowing, basically get your boil down to a simmer. Okay, now let's go over a couple questions that typically come up when you start talking about hypertrophy and increasing people's cross-sectional area for their muscles. A lot of people come up and they say, oh, well, I bulk easy. I don't want to train that way. No, you don't. Some people have more athletic builds. There's no denying that, 100%. But to say that you gain muscle faster than people who are actively trying to gain muscles is not only false, it's disrespectful for the people who are actually working to build those muscles. If you go up to a bodybuilder and tell them that you bulk easy, they might slap you in the face. You had your warning. But in all reality, like I mentioned earlier, gang, it's very, very difficult to actually get a muscle to grow. Now, that's not to say that you won't feel like your muscles are growing. Right after a good, tough workout, you're gonna have that swole feeling. That is your muscle sending in blood and every other resource that it needs to recover from that workout. I can guarantee you, if you take a circumference measurement immediately after a workout and then 4 or 5 hours later, you take another circumference measurement, you're going to experience some difference because your body's a living organism. It's sending nutrients and resources to those affected areas to help make them recover faster, recover safely, yada, 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 all that good stuff. So no, you do not bulk easy. And If you would like to prove me wrong, and perhaps you are the genetic anomaly that does bulk easy, then I would highly encourage you to get body composition measurements and circumference measurements and measure them for about a month of doing hypertrophy training. And if I'm wrong, I'll be more than happy to put foot in mouth. But I won't be. What if you don't want your muscles to necessarily get bigger, but you do want to get stronger? So we're talking, we don't necessarily want to look like a bodybuilder per se, but I do want to feel like a superhero and I want to be stronger, but I don't necessarily want to look like it. And there is absolutely a way to do that. The way to accomplish this is to spend less time in hypertrophy training and more time in strength training, which is what we're going to talk about in our next video. But the idea is you're training the nerves to recruit more of the muscles that are already present. So hypertrophy, you're doing a little bit of that, but you're also training these muscles to adapt, to get bigger, to create more stability about joints and help make your body healthier. Strength is more geared towards forcing the nerves to fire more rapidly and more frequently and branch out and find more muscles that are already present to fire more efficiently. And that's going to help you create a body that's strong, but doesn't necessarily make the muscles grow. Now, there's no way to absolutely prevent your muscles from growing at all and only getting stronger. But if you focus on hypertrophy, your muscles, the whole purpose of that training cycle is to make the muscles bigger. So if you spend a lot of time in hypertrophy, then they're going to get bigger, especially if you are meeting your body's caloric needs. Now, if you're not meeting your body's caloric needs to gain muscle, you're not going to gain muscle. Same thing for strength, same thing for endurance. It's all relative to how you're training and then how you're fueling your body, which that's a whole nother conversation. But know this, and this answers that last question as well. Will you bulk easy? Do you bulk easy? The answer is no, especially if you're eating like most people do nowadays, which is very little protein intake. Most people don't understand that they're not getting enough protein to actually make muscle growth, both just strength and increasing the neural firing to that actual muscle and to actually make it bigger. A lot of people don't realize that you have to have a lot of protein to make that happen. And if you don't believe me, track it. And then the final question is, how long will it take me to get jacked? 60 seconds. No, I'm just kidding. That's actually just the best picture I could find. So it's gonna take time. Your body needs at least 4 to 8 weeks to actually get used to the training that you're putting it through with hypertrophy. And if this is your first time going through a hypertrophy cycle, you're going to feel stronger. You're going to feel some effects because the learning curve is very steep at the very get-go. But once you start getting into it, the body and the muscles work on a progressive overload system. So you can't just work out with, let's say, 100 pounds for a shoulder press the rest of your life and expect your muscles to get bigger. As a matter of fact, at some point in time, they're going to start getting smaller because they're getting so used to the work that you're doing. You have to continually give your body a different and gradually increasing stimulus to actually make sure that you're progressing the right way. Now, there is a way to progress too much and you get injured. So you have to be smart about it. You can't just jump right in and expect your body to start getting stronger, bigger, faster, and all that good stuff. You have to be smart. You have to let the tissues, because it is organic material, you have to let the tissues catch up with what you want them to do. And then you're going to see changes. Now, everybody's body's different. Everybody's schedule is different. Everybody's nutritional resources are different. And this goes back to what we were talking about at the very get-go. If you create good systems, you're going to see results much faster than someone who, let's say, is just barely eating enough to stay awake during the day and training, trying to create a caloric deficit to decrease body composition and increase muscle. Not gonna happen. Doesn't work that way. You have to make sure that you're fueling your body the right way for whatever your goal is, whether that's running, power, strength, hypertrophy. You have to make sure that all the variables are taken care of. So the short answer to that question is it depends. It's gonna take time. Best to not worry about how long it's gonna take and just focus on daily, repeatable actions. Create some systems that are going to help you stay very, very consistent, and you'll be there before you know it. And real quick, just to clarify, because I am terrified that somebody watched this and only heard, if I train hypertrophy, my muscles will get bigger. So I'm only going to train hypertrophy. Don't do that. The body wants balance. It wants balance when it comes to flexibility and strength. It wants balance as far as your gut health and the food that you're eating. It wants balance in your mind, stress and eustress. Your body wants balance, and that includes your training cycle. So if you only train hypertrophy, your joints are gonna hate you, your tendons are gonna hate you, and your heart is gonna hate you. So be sure that you're not just training hypertrophy. You gotta mix it up to keep a well-rounded, healthy body. Just wanted to make that clear. Okay, gang, the next video we're gonna talk about strength. So be sure, if you have not followed us on our social media pages or subscribed to our YouTube channel, be sure to go do that. If you guys have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comments. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you next time.